The millionaire's daughter pulled the maid's hair. Her reaction made the millionaire cry. Inside the grand Caldwell mansion, a morning that seemed quiet was suddenly broken by a piercing scream. In the middle of the living room, 7-year-old Lily Caldwell clutched the thick hair of a young woman and yanked as if she wanted to rip it out by the roots. The young woman's name was Sophia, the new housekeeper who had started less than a week ago. Lily's small hands, surprisingly strong, pulled and twisted relentlessly, strands of dark hair falling to the floor. Sophia cried out in pain, struggling to free herself, but failing. "Stop it, Lily. Please, it hurts. Stop." Sophia's voice trembled, filled with desperation. But Lily's eyes were vacant, hollow, showing no hint of emotion. She kept pulling, trapped in a storm of rage she could not control. Across the room stood Ethan Caldwell, Lily's father. 35 years old, tall, dressed in a sharp suit, a successful real estate developer. His face was tense. This wasn't new to him. In fact, he had seen this exact scene play out dozens of times with nannies before Sophia. Beside him stood Grace, Ethan's mother. 62, elegant and perfectly groomed, her silver hair pinned neatly in place. Arms crossed, she watched with detached calm, as if already knowing the outcome. Yet another housekeeper would soon quit. Lily did not speak, did not smile, only attacked anyone who dared to touch her. Experienced nannies, child therapists, even pediatric nurses had all fled. No one could withstand the fury of this fragile yet feral child. Sophia fought to free herself, but the harder she tried, the harder Lily pulled. Her head was yanked back, her face twisting in pain. Ethan stepped forward, ready to intervene as he always did. Grace's lips curled slightly, convinced Sophia would not last. And then something unexpected happened. Sophia stopped struggling. She took a deep breath, and instead of prying Lily's hands away, she gently wrapped her arms around the child. "It's okay, sweetheart. I'm here. You don't have to be afraid," she whispered, her voice shaky but tender. The room froze. Lily hesitated. For the first time, her hands loosened slightly. Her blank eyes blinked in confusion, as if she had never felt this kind of touch. Sophia did not let go. Instead, she swayed softly and began to sing. "Sleep, little angel. Sleep in peace. The world can wait. Nothing will hurt you now." Her voice was warm, soothing. Ethan froze where he stood. For 2 long years since his wife's death in the accident, he had never seen Lily stop attacking when touched. His eyes burned with tears, but he forced them back, unwilling to show weakness in front of his mother. Grace, however, lost her faint smile. Her face hardened. This was not what she wanted. A simple servant achieving what specialists could not. Slowly, Lily released Sophia's hair. Her tiny fingers hovered in the air, confused. For the first time, she lifted her gaze toward Sophia. It wasn't the look of hostility, but one of timid wonder. Sophia kept singing, ignoring the sting in her scalp and the strands of hair scattered across the floor. For her, holding and soothing Lily felt like the most natural thing in the world. And inside a house long filled with tension, a fragile but priceless moment was born. A moment of connection no one had ever expected. 3 hours later, Lily was sitting on the floor, playing with colorful blocks. Sophia was cleaning the furniture while keeping an eye on the little girl. Ethan walked into the living room, still shaken by what he had witnessed. "Have you ever worked with children before?" Ethan asked. Sophia paused, looking up at him. "No, Mr. Caldwell. I've only ever worked for ordinary families. Never with a special child." She continued cleaning, but lowered her voice so as not to disturb Lily. "I really need this job. My grandmother is in the hospital with Alzheimer's. If I can't pay for the private care this month, they'll transfer her to a public facility. She won't be able to handle that change." Ethan noticed that Lily was paying attention to Sophia's voice. The little girl lifted her head, something she had never done with anyone else. He sighed, the painful memories still raw. Lily used to be so different. She used to talk, laugh. She was so bright. There were a few unusual behaviors, but nothing like now. Everything changed after my wife died in a car accident. Lily was in the back seat. She saw it all. From that moment on, she stopped talking, stopped trusting anyone. She became the way you see her today. As they spoke, Lily slowly walked toward Sophia, not to attack, but as if curious. She stopped a few steps away, just staring. Sophia knelt down to be at eye level with her. "Hello, Lily. Did you like the song I just sang?" Lily didn't speak, but she didn't walk away either. For a child who would normally lash out at anyone who tried to approach her, this was already a small miracle. Ethan stood frozen, stunned by the change in his daughter's behavior. A week passed. Every day when Sophia arrived for work, Lily would run to her. But this time, the little girl no longer pulled her hair violently. Instead, she touched softly, as if discovering a new sensation. That day, during mealtime, a miracle happened. Lily sat in her chair, still pushing her plate away like always. She shook her head, lips pressed tightly, refusing to eat. Sophia sat beside her, not forcing her. "You know, Lily, when I was your age, my grandmother used to make me a special dish. She told me that every spoonful carried love inside." Lily stopped pushing the plate and looked at Sophia. "Would you like to try a spoonful of love? If you don't like it, I promise I won't insist." Everyone was astonished when Lily opened her mouth and accepted the spoon. Then another. For the first time in weeks, the little girl finished her meal. Ethan stood at the kitchen doorway, holding back his emotions. He wondered, how could an ordinary woman achieve in 1 week what 15 specialists couldn't in 2 years? Mrs. Harper entered, whispering to him, "Sir, this young woman is different." Today, Lily looked straight into her eyes. Ethan kept watching. Lily pointed at the plate of fruit, trying to communicate somehow. "Mrs. Harper, are we doing the right thing, letting a maid get this close to Lily?" he asked. Mrs. Harper smiled. "Sir, the heart doesn't need a degree. This child needs love, and it seems she has found it." In the following days, the changes unfolded slowly, yet unmistakably. While Sophia cleaned the living room, Lily crept closer. Her small hand reached out to touch the cloth in Sophia's hand. No violent tug this time, just a gentle, curious brush. Sophia knelt to meet her gaze, smiling. "Do you like it? It's soft cotton." Lily said nothing, but she didn't back away. Her dark eyes followed Sophia closely, as though trying to learn how to feel the world through her. One afternoon, while folding laundry, Sophia heard a faint sound. She turned. Lily stood nearby, lips moving, trying to mimic the melody Sophia often sang. Sophia's heart clenched. She stepped closer, whispering, "Are you singing with me, Lily?" For a fleeting moment, Lily's eyes lit up. She said nothing more, but that tiny sound was enough to feel like a miracle. From the hallway, Ethan stood frozen, witnessing it all. In 2 long years of grief, he had never seen his daughter even attempt to make a sound. He leaned against the wall, holding back the surge of emotion. In the days that followed, Ethan often found excuses to pass by where Sophia was working, just to watch the way she remained patient with Lily, despite his own coldness toward her. One day, he witnessed a scene that truly moved him. Lily spilled dark grape juice onto Sophia's white blouse. The deep red stain spread across her chest. Instead of getting angry, Sophia looked at the mess and smiled. "Oh, Lily, you've turned me into a work of art. This color is beautiful." Lily, who had been expecting to be scolded, was caught off guard. She pointed at the stain and made a sound that almost resembled a small laugh. Ethan, hiding in the hallway, was astonished at how Sophia could turn even an accident into a positive moment. He realized that he didn't just admire the way Sophia treated his daughter. He was also drawn to the woman herself. As she bent down to clean the floor, a loose strand of hair fell across her face. Ethan suddenly wanted to reach out and tuck it behind her ear. The thought frightened him. No, I can't possibly be falling for a maid. Yet every time he looked at Sophia, he felt a genuine connection, something he hadn't experienced since Isabella's death. That afternoon, Lily picked up her crayons and, for the first time in 2 years, drew 3 simple figures holding hands, a small one in the middle, 2 larger ones on either side. When Ethan saw it, his heart skipped a beat. It was a family, Lily, Sophia, and himself. Grace immediately snatched the paper away. Such messy scribbles, dear. Come on, draw some flowers instead. She crumpled the drawing, but it was already too late. Ethan had seen it. He understood that, in his daughter's mind, Sophia had already become part of the family. That realization moved him deeply and terrified him just as much. Since the day Sophia entered the Caldwell household, Lily's changes had grown more visible. She was no longer as violent. She began eating again, sometimes simply standing still, watching, or making faint sounds. To Ethan, it was the first light after 2 years of darkness. But to Grace, it was nothing but a threat. A week later, Grace decided to get rid of Sophia. She waited until everyone was asleep, slipped into Sophia's room, carrying her own gold bracelet. She hid the piece of jewelry inside Sophia's pillowcase. The plan was simple. Wait a few days, then accidentally discover the bracelet in Sophia's room and accuse her of theft. For 3 days, Grace acted normally. Then, at Wednesday lunch, she made her move. "Ethan, have you seen my gold bracelet, the one Isabella gave me for her last birthday?" Ethan looked worried. "No, Mother. Where did you put it?" "I left it on my dressing table. I've searched the whole room, and it's gone." Grace pretended to be stunned, then sighed. "Ethan, the only person who goes in and out of my room is the new maid." Dr. Veronica Steele, who was dining with them, interjected. "Grace, this is serious, but before accusing anyone, we need to be sure. I suggest we discreetly check her belongings. If she's innocent, she'll cooperate." Ethan was conflicted. "Mother, I don't believe Sophia would steal. She's very honest." Grace sighed like a heartbroken mother. "Son, I don't want to believe it either, but that bracelet is worth $80,000, and it's the last keepsake from Isabella." Mentioning his late wife pained Ethan, and he nodded. "All right, tomorrow we'll search, but do it carefully. Don't insult her if she's innocent." Grace smiled with satisfaction. "Just as I planned." That night, in Lily's room, Sophia was helping the girl put away her toys. Lily held Sophia's hand and pointed at the mirror. In the reflection, the two of them appeared side by side. The little girl smiled and rested her head on Sophia's arm, her own way of saying she loved her. Sophia's heart tightened. This happiness felt too fragile, as if it couldn't last. The next morning, Grace set her plan in motion. She waited until Sophia started cleaning upstairs, then called Ethan. "It's time to search carefully for the bracelet." The two of them went together, with Lily trailing behind, sensing the heavy atmosphere. Grace knocked on Sophia's door. "Excuse me, Sophia, we need to check this room in case the bracelet was misplaced." Sophia looked uneasy, but couldn't refuse. "Of course, ma'am. Please, go ahead." Grace rifled through drawers, pretended to look under the bed, then headed straight for the pillow. "Let me check here." She slipped her hand into the pillowcase and pulled out the bracelet, feigning shock. "Oh my goodness, here it is!" Sophia went pale. No, that's impossible. I've never touched it. I didn't even know it existed." Dr. Veronica Steele's face grew stern. "Sophia, this is very serious. Do you understand this could be considered theft?" "I swear before God I didn't take it," Sophia choked out. "Please, you have to believe me." Ethan looked at Sophia, then at the bracelet. He wanted to believe her, but how could he explain it? "Sophia, how do you explain this?" "Someone planted it there. I've never even entered Mrs. Caldwell's room." Grace pretended to be heartbroken. "Sophia, I know your grandmother is gravely ill and you're struggling, but stealing is not the way." "I didn't steal it. Why would I hide it in my own room? That makes no sense." Lily sensed something terrible was happening. The tense air overwhelmed her, and she broke into frantic sobs. In panic, she lashed out, yanking Sophia's hair, her rage erupting. Grace secretly filmed the scene. "See? Violent again, just as I said." Ethan rushed forward, pulling his daughter from Sophia's arms. In that moment, he felt as if his entire world had collapsed. An hour later, in his study, Ethan faced the hardest decision of his life. Sophia stood before his desk, still in shock from the accusation. Grace also present. "Sophia, I truly want to believe you, but the truth is, the bracelet was found in your room, and Lily has become aggressive again." Ethan placed the bracelet on the desk. "Mr. Caldwell, may God bear witness. Someone planted it there. I never stole anything." "But why was it inside your pillow?" Sophia's voice broke. "Please, let me speak with Mrs. Harper. She knows I'm not a thief." Dr. Veronica Steele cut in coldly. "Sophia, sometimes people in financial difficulty do things they normally wouldn't," Grace added, feigning pity. "My dear, we understand. You need money to care for your grandmother, but stealing is wrong." Sophia cried out in despair. "I've worked all my life, and I've never picked up even a coin from the ground." Ethan rose to his feet, his voice pained but firm. "Sophia, for the safety of my daughter and this household, you cannot stay here any longer." Sophia's world collapsed. "Mr. Caldwell, please, at least allow me to say goodbye to Lily." Ethan hesitated, but Dr. Veronica Steele intervened. "For the child's well-being, prolonged goodbyes will only cause more harm. She should leave immediately." Sophia looked at them, her eyes pleading. "But my grandmother? Without this salary, I cannot pay for her care." Grace pretended to be compassionate. "You'll have a good reference to find another job, but here you cannot stay." Ethan turned away, avoiding her gaze. He felt something was wrong, yet feared he was letting his emotions cloud his judgment. Sophia quietly gathered her few belongings. Tears streamed down her face, but she did not beg further. In the hallway, she met Mrs. Harper. "Mrs. Harper, please take care of Lily for me. She's very special." Mrs. Harper embraced her tightly, tears in her own eyes. "I know you did nothing wrong, my dear. I know." The door closed behind her, leaving the house in suffocating silence. But inside Lily's small heart, a deep crack had just formed, one that would soon engulf them all. Since the day Sophia left the Caldwell mansion, the house had become unbearably hollow. Silent walls, wide empty rooms, filled only with the muffled sobs of Lily. She would not eat, would not sleep, would not let anyone touch her. Plates of food were served only to be shoved away, sometimes thrown to the floor. Comforting words, breathing exercises from Dr. Veronica. Lily rejected them all. She sat in the corner, eyes red, fixed on the front door, as if waiting for someone who would never return. Ethan was helpless. He sat beside her, pleading softly. "Lily, just one spoonful, for Daddy. Please?" But Lily turned her face away, lips pressed tight, before bursting into tears. Ethan lowered his head, trembling hands covering his face. Never had he felt so powerless. At night the house grew even colder. Ethan stayed awake by his daughter's bed. She tossed and turned, whispering in her sleep, "Sophia, Sophia." He heard every syllable. For the first time in days, Lily had spoken someone's name. And it wasn't his, it was the name of the woman he had driven away. His chest tightened, tears spilled, unstoppable this time. In the darkness, Ethan whispered, "God, have I made the worst mistake?" Grace remained cold. To her, Lily's state was merely a phase of emotional detox, certain that the girl would forget eventually. But with each passing day, Lily weakened further. She lost weight rapidly, her face growing gaunt. Her tiny hands trembled as she pushed everything away. Mrs. Harper could no longer bear it. She found Ethan in the library. "Mr. Caldwell, I must speak plainly. The child suffers like this because she misses Sophia. You may listen to the doctor, but Lily's heart is crying for something else." Ethan looked up, eyes bloodshot. "But if this is dependency, if I allow it, am I not harming her even more?" Mrs. Harper shook her head, firm. "Sir, I raised 5 children of my own, and I've watched Lily since the day she was born. I have never seen her as happy as she was with Sophia. Don't let fear and other people's words blind you to the truth right before your eyes." Ethan went silent. He turned to the window, where in the garden Lily sat curled on a bench, her gaze locked on the front gate, as if waiting for a familiar figure to walk through. Inside Ethan, a storm raged, between logic and heart, between expertise and a father's instinct. And for the first time, he began to wonder, had he made the greatest mistake of his life? 10 days after Sophia's departure, Dr. Mauricio Alvarado, the family's longtime pediatrician, was called urgently to the house. Lily had grown visibly thinner and frailer. "Ethan, I'm very concerned. Lily has lost 1.5 kilos in just 10 days. For a 7-year-old child, that's an alarming amount." Ethan's face turned pale. "Is it dangerous?" "If she doesn't start eating and drinking again within the next few days, I'll have no choice but to admit her to the hospital and begin IV treatment. There will be no other option." Just the thought of his daughter being hospitalized filled Ethan with despair. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He sat by Lily's bed, watching her toss and turn restlessly. Then suddenly, in a half-dreaming murmur, the little girl whispered, "Sophia? Where's Sophia?" For the first time since Sophia's departure, she had spoken her name clearly. Ethan's chest tightened. He was the one who had driven away the woman his daughter loved. For the first time, he truly began to doubt his decision. 2 weeks after Sophia had been dismissed, Dr. Mauricio Alvarado came again. His concern was extreme. Lily lay weak and pale, unable to move. "Ethan, I'll be blunt," he said. "If she doesn't drink water today, I'll have no choice but to admit her to the hospital. We're out of time." Ethan was in despair, watching his daughter wither before his eyes. "There must be another way, doctor?" Mauricio shook his head. "Right now, this is the best option for her." Ethan gripped his hair in anguish. Only one choice remained in his mind, against everyone's advice. "I'll call Sophia. If she can just persuade Lily to drink even a little water, that will be enough." Grace gasped. "Son, after everything that happened, you cannot—" Ethan cut her off, his voice firm. "If my daughter dies, nothing else matters." He dialed the number Sophia had left. His voice trembled. "Sophia, it's me, Ethan. I know I don't deserve it, but please come. Lily is in danger." 40 minutes later, Sophia arrived. She looked thinner, her eyes red from crying, still working odd jobs in different houses to scrape together money. Entering the room, she froze. Lily lay motionless, breathing faintly. "Oh God, Lily, what have they done to you?" Sophia sat down beside the bed. Lily opened her eyes. The moment she saw Sophia, a spark lit up in them. She whispered, "Sophia?" It was the first clear word she had spoken since Sophia's departure. Ethan, leaning against the wall, was overcome, though he held back so as not to break the moment. Sophia picked up a glass of water. "Are you thirsty, sweetheart? Just a little sip, all right?" Lily gave a faint nod and drank, sip by sip. Then she even accepted a few spoonfuls of soup, her first meal in over a day. Grace stood in the doorway, her face flushed with anger, but this time Ethan stopped her. He would not allow anyone to interfere. 3 days later, Lily was much better and had begun eating and drinking again, but only when Sophia was nearby. Ethan sat in his study, his mind in turmoil. If Sophia truly weren't the right person, then why is she the only one who can help my daughter recover? At that moment, Mrs. Harper knocked on the door. She entered, holding a bundle of wrinkled papers in her trembling hands. "Mr. Caldwell, I don't wish to interfere in the family's affairs, but I can't stay silent any longer. I must tell the truth." Ethan looked at her in surprise. "Mrs. Harper, please, go on." She took a deep breath. "I saw Mrs. Caldwell put the bracelet inside Sophia's pillow." Ethan's hand shook. "Are you certain?" At last, Mrs. Harper opened her phone and played a recording. The sound was crackly, but Grace's voice was unmistakable. "We must get rid of that girl before she truly becomes part of this family. Someone like her cannot live among people like us." Ethan froze. It was his mother's voice. "Mrs. Harper, why didn't you tell me sooner?" Mrs. Harper lowered her head, her voice breaking. "I was afraid, sir. I'm a widow, and I need this job. But when I saw Lily on the verge of dying from sorrow, I could no longer remain a coward." Ethan was overcome with both fury and shame. His own mother had endangered his daughter, all because of prejudice. "Where is my mother now?" "In the living room, sir." Ethan sprang to his feet, his fists clenched, eyes blazing red. He knew exactly what he had to do. Ethan walked into the living room where Grace was sipping her tea. "Mother, we need to talk." Grace looked up, feigning calm. "What is it, my son?" Ethan played the recording. Grace's voice rang out, distorted but unmistakable. "We must get rid of that girl before she truly becomes part of this family. Someone like her cannot live among people like us." Grace's face turned pale, but she still tried to deny it. That recording could have been spliced from anywhere. Ethan stared straight at her. "And you deliberately framed her for theft, didn't you?" Grace shot to her feet, casting aside her false aristocratic composure. "Fine, yes, it was me, but I did it to protect this family. Can't you see? That girl was trying to use you, using Lily as a stepping stone to drain this household of money." Ethan roared in fury. "Mother, Sophia loves my daughter more than anyone else ever has, and you destroyed everything because of your pathetic prejudice," Grace shouted back. "Prejudice? This is reality. Someone like her can never marry someone like us. I was saving the honor of the Caldwell family." Ethan glared at her with hatred. "Honor? You've brought nothing but lies, schemes, and suffering upon an innocent child. If that is what you call honor, then I despise it." Grace realized she had lost her son forever. She hissed bitterly. "You'll regret this, Ethan. When you discover what that girl truly is, you'll remember my words." Ethan coldly raised his phone. "You have until tomorrow morning to leave my house." Grace staggered back, pale as chalk. In that moment, Ethan knew he had nearly lost everything by believing lies. But now the truth was clear, and in his heart only one thought remained. He had to bring Sophia back, no matter the cost. Grace left the mansion without saying goodbye to her granddaughter. Before stepping into the car, she turned back to Ethan. "This will end badly for you. Don't say I didn't warn you." But she left carrying only her own bitterness. That afternoon, Ethan called Sophia. "Sophia, will you come back? Not just for a while, but forever, if you want." On the other end of the line, Sophia's voice trembled with hesitation. "Mr. Caldwell, how can I be sure you won't change your mind again?" "Because now I know the truth, and I nearly lost the most important people in my life by believing in lies." At that moment, Lily pressed her face close to the phone and shouted, "Sophia, come back! Sophia, come! Sophia, come back!" It was the first time she had called her name out of longing, not in anger. Tears filled Sophia's eyes. "All right, I'll come." 2 hours later, Sophia returned. Ethan welcomed her in the living room, his face filled with remorse. "First, I must apologize. I discovered everything. My mother framed you, accused you of theft, harmed Lily, and manipulated us all. I was a fool, a terrible father. I nearly let my daughter die because I didn't trust the one person who truly cared for her." He bowed his head. "Can you forgive me?" Sophia looked at him for a long moment. "I'm not angry with you, but I am hurt. You treated me like a thief, cast me out when Lily needed me most, and never gave me a chance to explain." Each word cut deep into Ethan's heart. "You're right. I have no excuse." Sophia took a deep breath. "I'll return, but not for you. For Lily. She doesn't deserve to suffer for the mistakes of the adults." Just then, Lily burst into the room, her eyes shining as she saw Sophia. She threw her arms around her and cried out, "Sophia, Sophia, don't leave again." Ethan watched the scene, overwhelmed with emotion. He knew that to regain Sophia's trust, he would need a very long time. And he also understood that perhaps he had already lost the most precious thing of all, the right to be loved by her. A week after Sophia's return, life in the mansion gradually settled back into rhythm. Lily was eating again, sleeping well, and smiling brightly as before. But the relationship between Ethan and Sophia had changed. Sophia cared for Lily with the same tenderness as always, yet toward Ethan she remained polite but distant. Ethan tried many times to start a conversation. "Sophia, how is your grandmother?" While folding clothes, Sophia replied calmly, "I've taken on 2 more cleaning jobs. That way, I can keep paying for her private care." Ethan quickly said, "You don't need to take extra work. What you earn here is enough." Sophia lifted her eyes, firm and unwavering. "Mr. Caldwell, I've learned never to rely on a single source of income. Things can change far too quickly." The subtle meaning in her words stung Ethan's heart. He knew Sophia was protecting herself, guarding against the possibility that he might turn his back on her again. "Sophia, I want you to know that you're important, to both of us." Sophia kept working. "I'm important to Lily, and for me, that's enough." On the carpet, Lily abandoned her drawing and ran to grab Sophia's hand, then pulled her father's hand and tried to place them together. It was her way of saying she wanted the 3 of them to be united. Ethan looked deep into Sophia's eyes. "Even Lily knows we belong together." Sophia pulled her hand away, her voice gentle but firm. "Lily is still a child, Mr. Caldwell. She doesn't understand how complicated the adult world is." Ethan realized then, if he wanted to win Sophia's trust again, it would take immense patience. But he was willing to wait, no matter how long it took. 6 weeks after Sophia's return, the atmosphere in the house was finally peaceful. Lily had made remarkable progress. She was speaking a few words, learning to play with others, and even accepting affection from outsiders, so long as Sophia introduced them. One afternoon, Ethan looked out into the garden. Sophia and Lily were laughing joyfully as they planted flowers together. His heart tightened. He knew with absolute certainty these 2 were his real family. He walked closer and called softly, "Sophia, may I speak with you privately?" "Yes, Mr. Caldwell." While Lily continued playing in the dirt, Ethan looked at Sophia with solemn eyes. "In these past months, I've learned something. You didn't just save Lily, you saved me too." Sophia's face flushed. "You don't need to say that." Ethan bent down so his eyes were level with hers. "Before you came, I was dead inside. I didn't know how to be a father, how to live. You brought life back into this house." Sophia shook her head, her voice trembling. "Please don't say that." Ethan looked straight into her eyes. "Sophia, I love you. I love the incredible woman you are." Sophia gasped, standing abruptly. "Mr. Caldwell, you can't say that. I work in your house." "You're not just an employee. You're the woman I love, and you're the mother my daughter's heart has already chosen." Lily looked up as if sensing something important. Sophia shook her head again and again, frightened. "This is too complicated. What if your family never accepts me? What if you change your mind when society begins to whisper?" Ethan clasped her hand firmly, his voice resolute. "Sophia, I choose you. I choose both of you, always. I don't care what the world says." Sophia wavered, torn between fear and the yearning to believe. And as if to prove it, Lily rushed over, clasping both their hands together, stacking them as one. Her bright eyes declared what her lips could not. "We belong together." Sophia looked down, seeing the tiny hand binding hers with Ethan's, and her heart trembled. The walls she had built to protect herself after so much hurt began to crack. In that fragile moment, love quietly took root. With Sophia's return, the atmosphere in the Caldwell mansion transformed completely. Lily began eating more regularly, sometimes even bursting into soft giggles. The entire house felt alive again after 2 long years of darkness. In the evenings, the three of them often sat together in the living room. Ethan with a book, Sophia folding laundry, and Lily on the rug building castles out of wooden blocks. Suddenly, Lily ran over, grabbed Sophia's hand, and pulled Ethan's hand on top of it. "All 3 together," she whispered, her voice trembling. Ethan looked at Sophia, his gaze tender and deep. Sophia tried to mask her flustered expression, but her heart raced wildly. To Lily, it was undeniable. Sophia was already family. Yet the outside world was far less accepting. News of a prominent businessman like Ethan being romantically linked to a maid spread quickly through high society. At lavish gatherings, whispers echoed, "What is he thinking? What will become of the Caldwell reputation?" Some business partners even severed contracts, citing inappropriate family image. Ethan had expected it, but facing the reality still stung bitterly. One night, Sophia found him sitting silently in the library, papers scattered across the desk. She approached gently, asking, "You're losing so much because of me, aren't you?" Ethan lifted his head, offering a weary smile. "Sophia, I can lose contracts, lose reputation. But if I lose you and Lily, I lose everything. I have no regrets." Sophia froze, eyes glistening with tears. In that moment, she understood. The road ahead would be filled with trials, but she also knew they were ready to face them. Together, as a true family. As time passed, Sophia became the heart of the Caldwell home. Lily grew stronger each day, speaking more words, daring to hold hands with others when introduced, even laughing aloud in play. Every small step felt like a miracle, and Ethan knew it was all because of Sophia. One afternoon, the 3 sat in the garden. Sophia taught Lily how to plant sunflower seeds into the soil. Ethan stood a few steps away, quietly watching, his heart swelling with clarity. This was his true family. He walked forward and dropped to one knee on the grass. Sophia looked up, startled. "Mr. Caldwell, what are you doing?" His eyes glowed, his voice deep and steady. "Sophia, I don't have a diamond ring or extravagant promises, but I have real love, and I have a daughter who has already chosen you as her mother in her heart. So, Sophia, will you marry me?" Sophia froze. Tears welled in her eyes, her lips trembling. Nearby, Lily dropped the handful of soil she held, eyes wide before shouting joyfully, "Mommy Sophia, Daddy Ethan, family together." The little girl rushed over, clasping their hands and pulling them close. Her tiny hands bound them as one. Sophia broke into tears, hugging Lily, then meeting Ethan's gaze. In his eyes, she saw nothing but truth. No doubt, no hesitation. She whispered, voice trembling, "Yes, I will." Ethan wrapped his arms around the two most precious souls in his life. And a few weeks later, in a simple ceremony held in the garden, now blooming with sunflowers planted by Sophia and Lily, they became a family at last. When the minister asked, Ethan looked straight into Sophia's eyes. "I vow to love and protect you in joy and in sorrow, against any prejudice we may face," Sophia replied, her voice breaking yet firm. "I vow never to abandon you, because true family never leaves." Lily tossed petals into the air, laughing aloud. Happy family, forever happy. And in that moment, the three embraced. A new family was born, not from blood or status, but from love and from a choice made by the heart. Because in the end, true family is not the one you're born into. It's the one you choose and never abandon.